Chosen ones, please don't skip. God Himself wants you to hear this. There is a quiet urgency in these words, a gentle yet powerful call that carries the warmth of heaven itself, because something precious is unfolding in this very moment, and missing it would mean missing a tender whisper that God has carefully prepared for a heart that longs for comfort and direction. The message is not filled with fear or pressure, but with deep love, because when God calls someone chosen, He is not shouting from a distance, but leaning close with a voice full of compassion and hope. Many people move through life feeling unseen, unheard, or forgotten, yet God's heart never loses sight of even the smallest tear or the quietest prayer that rises during lonely nights. His love moves like a soft light through dark places, gently reminding the soul that it was never meant to walk alone in confusion or sorrow. Type 2323 if you agree. There are moments when heaven quietly pauses around a person, not to judge them or measure their past, but to remind them that their story still holds beauty, meaning, and a future shaped by divine kindness. In those sacred moments, God begins to speak through simple thoughts, peaceful feelings, and unexpected reminders that something greater is guiding each step forward. The world can become loud with worry and pressure, yet the voice of God remains steady and calm, like a warm sunrise slowly filling the sky after a long night of darkness. That is why this moment matters deeply, because within these words rests a gentle reminder that God has never abandoned the heart that seeks Him with sincerity and faith. If this message begins to bring comfort or warmth to your heart, please take a brief moment to like the video, so more people who feel lost or weary can also receive the same encouragement and gentle reminder of God's love. Chosen ones often walk through seasons that feel confusing or painful, not because they are forgotten, but because their journey carries a purpose that grows quietly beneath the surface of everyday life. Just as seeds remain hidden beneath the soil before becoming strong trees, the plans of God sometimes grow silently in places where patience and faith are learning to trust again. During these quiet seasons, Jesus walks beside every believer with a love that does not rush or pressure, but patiently restores hope one step at a time. His presence does not arrive with loud noise or sudden spectacle, but with a peaceful assurance that slowly heals tired hearts and renews strength that once felt lost. Many hearts listening right now have faced moments when the world seemed heavy and uncertain, yet God never stepped away from those struggles, even when His guidance felt quiet and unseen. Every tear, every moment of waiting, and every silent prayer has been gently held within the loving attention of heaven. God does not overlook pain or ignore the longing for peace that rests deep within human hearts. Instead, He patiently works within circumstances, slowly turning difficult seasons into pathways that lead toward healing and purpose. Type Amen if you believe. Jesus often reaches people not through grand displays of power, but through quiet restoration that happens within the deepest places of the soul. A weary heart slowly begins to feel peace again, and hope returns like soft sunlight warming a cold morning. The presence of God begins to feel closer than ever before, gently reminding the believer that their life holds meaning far beyond what temporary struggles may suggest. The chosen ones are not selected because they are perfect or strong on their own, but because their hearts remain open to love, mercy, and the transforming grace that Jesus freely offers. The world often celebrates loud success and visible recognition, yet God often chooses to work through humble lives that simply continue trusting Him during difficult days. Those who quietly keep faith alive inside their hearts are often the very ones who carry God's light into places where darkness once seemed overwhelming. Through small acts of kindness, patience during hardship, and gentle faith during uncertainty, God's love begins to shine through their lives in ways that touch others more deeply than they realize. When someone is chosen by God, it does not mean their path will always feel easy or smooth, yet it means they will never walk without divine guidance surrounding them. Even during moments when answers seem far away, God continues shaping a future filled with hope and restoration. His plans are never rushed or careless, because every step he prepares is designed to bring growth, healing, and a deeper connection with his loving presence. Many believers discover that their most difficult seasons eventually become the very places where God's comfort becomes the strongest and most real. Pain begins to transform into wisdom, and uncertainty slowly becomes faith that stands steady even during storms. The gentle teachings of Jesus begin to shape the heart with compassion, patience, and courage that grows stronger with time. God's love is not distant or reserved only for special moments, because his presence quietly fills ordinary days with purpose and meaning that slowly unfolds. Each sunrise becomes another reminder that heaven continues to walk alongside those who trust in his guidance. Even when life feels ordinary or unnoticed, God continues weaving beautiful plans that slowly reveal themselves through faith and perseverance. Chosen ones are often people who continue believing in goodness, even when the world around them feels broken or discouraging. Their faith may sometimes feel small or fragile, yet God treasures even the smallest spark of hope that remains alive within a heart that still turns toward him. Through that spark, his love begins to shine brighter with every passing day. As this journey continues to unfold, new strength begins to rise quietly within the soul, reminding the believer that God's presence has been guiding them through every step of their life. Even during seasons when the path seemed unclear, the gentle voice of heaven continues speaking peace, hope, and reassurance to hearts that remain open to receive it. A newly revealed 7-second brainwave method, backed by neuroscience and once hidden in classified documents, is helping thousands activate their brain's wealth setting. People refer to it as the money magnet sound because of how quickly it appears to attract abundance. Click the link in the description and comments below to awaken the prosperity already within you. The chosen ones often live through seasons where their faith grows silently, like a candle burning steadily through the long hours of the night, giving light even when no one else notices its glow. God watches these faithful steps with deep tenderness, because every moment of trust builds a stronger connection between the human heart and the love that flows from heaven. Many people search for signs that they are seen and valued, yet the truth is that God has never turned his eyes away from those who belong to him. Even when discouragement tries to settle into the soul like a heavy cloud, God's gentle presence continues, surrounding the believer with quiet reassurance. His love does not fade when difficulties appear, because his care reaches even deeper during moments when strength feels weak and hope begins to tremble. The chosen ones are often those who keep walking forward with faith, even when their path is covered with uncertainty and their answers seem delayed. God understands every hidden struggle that lives inside the hearts of his people, including the silent worries that are never spoken aloud. Many chosen ones carry burdens that others cannot see, yet heaven remains closely aware of every thought and every quiet prayer rising during lonely moments. The love of Jesus surrounds those silent prayers like warm light surrounding a small flame, protecting the fragile hope that still lives within the soul. Even when answers take time to appear, God continues working behind the scenes with wisdom and patience that never fails. Type 2020 to claim miracles. There is a deep beauty in the way God restores tired hearts slowly and gently, because true healing grows best when it is given time to reach every hidden corner of the soul. Jesus never rushes past wounded places or forgotten dreams, but instead sits beside them with compassion that begins to bring life back into areas that once felt empty. Many chosen ones discover that their greatest moments of transformation begin quietly during seasons when they simply remain faithful, even when circumstances feel confusing or painful. The presence of God often feels like a calm river flowing through the spirit, carrying peace into places where anxiety once lived. This peace does not depend on perfect circumstances, because it comes directly from the heart of God Himself. Even when storms surround the believer, the peace of heaven continues, whispering gentle reminders that God's plans are still unfolding with care and purpose. His guidance moves with patience, slowly shaping each step so that the future becomes stronger and more beautiful than the past ever imagined. Jesus teaches the heart to see life through the eyes of compassion and hope, helping believers understand that every season carries meaning within God's greater design. Moments that once seemed like losses sometimes become stepping stones, leading toward new blessings and deeper wisdom. Even difficult experiences can begin to shine with purpose when they are placed into the loving hands of God, who knows how to transform pain into strength and sorrow into renewed faith. There are times when chosen ones feel separated from the world around them, not because they are rejected, but because their hearts are learning to follow a different rhythm, guided by God's wisdom. While others chase temporary success or recognition, the chosen ones often walk quietly with faith that values love, humility, and kindness above everything else. God honors these quiet qualities more than loud achievements, because the heart that reflects His character becomes a living light in a world that often feels dark and uncertain. Within these moments of growth, the believer begins to notice small signs of God's presence appearing throughout daily life. A sudden feeling of peace during a difficult decision, an unexpected word of encouragement, or a quiet reminder that faith still matters even during challenging days. These gentle signs are not accidents or coincidences, because God often communicates through simple experiences that bring comfort and reassurance to the soul. Many chosen ones once believed their struggles meant they were forgotten, yet time slowly reveals that those very struggles were shaping them into stronger and more compassionate individuals. The patience learned through hardship becomes a gift that later allows them to support others who walk through similar difficulties. God often prepares His people in quiet ways so they can eventually bring healing and encouragement into the lives of those who feel lost or discouraged. Type 1111 if you trust in God. Faith grows deeper when it learns to trust God not only during joyful moments, but also during times when the road ahead feels uncertain. The chosen ones are gently taught that God's love does not depend on visible results or immediate answers. His faithfulness continues, working quietly even when the outcome is not yet visible. Every day that a believer chooses to trust God again becomes another step toward the future He is preparing with care and wisdom. The love of Jesus fills the heart with a strength that does not rely on worldly approval or temporary comfort. Instead, it grows from a deep connection with the truth that God's presence remains constant through every season of life. Even when circumstances change and people come and go, the love of God remains steady and faithful. This unchanging love becomes the foundation upon which the chosen ones build their lives. Many people spend years searching for meaning in places that cannot truly satisfy the soul, yet the chosen ones eventually discover that real peace grows from walking closely with God. His presence begins to fill ordinary days with quiet joy and simple gratitude that feels richer than any temporary success. The believer begins to see beauty in small moments, kindness in unexpected places, and hope rising even after seasons of hardship. God's plans for his chosen people often unfold slowly because true transformation requires patience and trust. Just as a tree grows strong roots before its branches reach high into the sky, God builds deep faith within the hearts of those who follow him. These roots of faith allow believers to stand firm even when storms arrive, because their strength comes from a foundation that cannot easily be shaken. Jesus continues guiding his people with love that never becomes tired or distant, always ready to lift the heart when it begins to feel weak or discouraged. His presence brings gentle reminders that every step of the journey still holds meaning, even when progress seems slow. Through his compassion, believers begin to understand that the path of faith is not a race, but a journey of growth that unfolds day by day. A 7-second brainwave practice, once reserved for select circles and concealed in classified files, has now been made public, and many describe it as the 30-second miracle. Experts say it awakens a dormant brain center connected to wealth and blessings. Click the link in the comments below before it is taken down from the internet again. As the chosen ones continue walking with God, they slowly become living reflections of the love they have received. Their kindness begins to touch others who are searching for hope, and their patience becomes a quiet example of what faith can look like during difficult times. God often uses these simple acts of love to bring light into places where darkness once seemed overwhelming. The chosen ones slowly realize that those hidden seasons were never empty or meaningless, because heaven was carefully shaping something precious within them. Every silent prayer, every tear that fell during lonely nights, and every moment of patient waiting has been held close within the loving attention of God. Many believers once believed that their struggles meant something had gone wrong in their journey of faith, yet time gently reveals that those seasons were part of a deeper preparation. Just as a craftsman patiently shapes a piece of clay before it becomes something beautiful and strong, God often works through life's challenges to build wisdom and compassion within the human heart. The chosen ones begin to see that every difficult moment slowly formed a stronger spirit that can stand with grace and faith during storms. What once felt like delay or disappointment slowly transforms into understanding, and the heart begins to recognize that God was guiding every step with quiet wisdom. There is a special tenderness in the way Jesus walks beside those who feel tired from carrying burdens for too long. His presence does not bring pressure or harsh expectations, but instead offers rest and gentle reassurance that the soul is safe within his care. Many chosen ones carry memories of seasons when they felt completely alone, yet those moments were never truly empty of God's presence. Even when the human heart could not sense it clearly, heaven was still surrounding them with protection and compassion that never faded. Type yes to affirm. God understands the hidden battles that many hearts fight quietly each day, including the thoughts that bring doubt, worry, or sadness. The chosen ones are not people who never feel weakness, but people who continue reaching toward God even when their strength feels small. That simple act of turning back toward heaven again and again becomes a powerful expression of faith that God deeply honors. Through that persistent trust, the believer slowly begins to discover that God's love remains stronger than every fear that once tried to take root in the soul. There are times when chosen ones feel separated from others around them, as if their journey follows a different path that few people truly understand. This feeling does not come from rejection, but from the quiet work of God shaping a heart that listens more closely to his voice. While many people chase temporary approval or recognition, the chosen ones often find their joy in simple faith, kindness, and compassion. These quiet qualities may seem small in the eyes of the world, yet they shine brightly within the heart of God. During peaceful moments of reflection, Believers sometimes begin to recognize how many times God protected them from situations that could have caused deeper harm, paths that once closed unexpectedly, opportunities that disappeared without explanation, and relationships that quietly faded away were often part of God's loving protection. What once looked like disappointment slowly reveals itself as divine guidance that kept the heart moving toward a safer and more meaningful future. The teachings of Jesus gently reshape the way chosen ones begin to see the world around them. Instead of responding to hardship with bitterness, they begin responding with patience and compassion that grows stronger over time. Instead of allowing disappointment to close their hearts, they learn to keep love alive, even when circumstances become difficult. This quiet transformation becomes one of the greatest miracles that God performs within the human soul. At times, the journey of faith includes long periods of waiting, where answers seem distant and progress feels slow. During these seasons, the chosen ones learn one of the most powerful lessons of all, which is the ability to trust God even when the path ahead remains unclear. Faith begins to grow roots that reach deeper than circumstances, allowing the believer to stand steady during storms that once would have shaken their hope. Type 1212 if you walk by faith. As this deeper faith begins to grow, the heart slowly becomes calmer and more confident in the presence of God. Worry begins to lose its grip, and the soul discovers a quiet strength that comes from knowing that heaven is still guiding every step forward. The believer no longer feels the need to control every outcome, because trust in God's wisdom becomes stronger than the fear of uncertainty. Jesus continues teaching the heart that love remains the most powerful force within the kingdom of God. When chosen ones offer kindness to someone who is hurting, or patience to someone who feels lost, they become living reflections of the compassion that Jesus has shown them. These small acts of love may appear simple, yet they carry a deep spiritual beauty that touches lives in ways that cannot always be seen immediately. Many chosen ones eventually discover that their own experiences of hardship become bridges that allow them to understand and comfort others who face similar struggles. The empathy that grows through pain becomes a powerful gift that God uses to bring healing into other lives. Through their kindness and understanding, the love of God begins to spread quietly from heart to heart. God often chooses ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary acts of compassion and encouragement within the world. The chosen ones are rarely perfect or flawless, yet their willingness to keep trusting God allows His love to work through their lives. This gentle partnership between human faith and divine grace becomes a beautiful testimony of how heaven touches the earth through humble hearts. As the journey continues, the believer slowly realizes that their story is still unfolding under the careful guidance of God. Every chapter carries lessons that deepen faith and strengthen the connection between the soul and heaven. Even when certain parts of the story felt painful or confusing, they become meaningful pieces of a greater picture that God is patiently revealing. The believer starts to see that even the seasons filled with confusion were never empty of God's presence, because heaven was patiently working behind the scenes with care that never grows tired. This realization brings a peaceful awareness that the life of a chosen one is never ruled by chance, but gently guided by the loving hands of God. A rare 7-second morning ritual, previously hidden in classified documents, is re-emerging, and people are already sharing accounts of swift financial advancement. It takes almost no time, yet it triggers a dormant wealth switch in the brain that most people never use. Click the link in the description and comments now to access it before it vanishes. Many chosen ones carry memories of nights when their hearts felt heavy with uncertainty, yet those nights quietly became the place where their faith began to grow stronger. While the world slept, Their prayers rose softly toward heaven, carrying every worry, every hope, and every longing for comfort. God heard each of those whispered prayers with tenderness that cannot be measured by human understanding. Even when answers did not arrive immediately, His presence remained close, surrounding the believer with a peace that slowly calmed the restless places within the heart. There is something deeply beautiful about the way Jesus restores people who once felt broken or forgotten by the world. His love never approaches a wounded soul with judgment or harshness, but instead with compassion that gently rebuilds confidence and hope. The chosen ones often discover that their deepest healing begins not when their circumstances suddenly change, but when their hearts begin to rest in the quiet assurance that they are deeply loved by God. That assurance becomes like warm light spreading through every corner of the soul, pushing away the shadows of doubt that once lived there. Type 1919 to receive miracles. The presence of God often works through gentle moments that many people might overlook if they are rushing through life without pausing to listen. A quiet feeling of peace during a difficult day, a sudden thought that brings comfort during a moment of sadness, or an unexpected reminder that faith still matters during challenging seasons. These small experiences become sacred reminders that heaven is always near, guiding and strengthening the hearts of those who continue trusting in God. Chosen ones slowly begin to understand that their journey was never meant to follow the same path as everyone else around them. While others may measure success by recognition, possessions, or outward achievements, the chosen ones begin to see life through a deeper spiritual perspective. They learn to value kindness more than applause, patience more than quick victories, and love more than temporary praise. These qualities become the true treasures that God places within the hearts of those who walk closely with Him. There are times when the chosen ones may feel misunderstood by others who cannot see the quiet work that God is doing inside their lives. This feeling can sometimes bring moments of loneliness, yet it also becomes an invitation to grow closer to God's presence. When the world becomes confusing or overwhelming, the believer begins to discover that the peace of God offers a place of rest that no earthly circumstance can fully provide. That peace becomes a steady foundation upon which faith continues to grow stronger each day. Many chosen ones once wondered why their lives included so many seasons of waiting or unexpected changes, yet time begins to reveal that those moments carried hidden purpose. God often prepares His people in quiet ways before leading them into the blessings He has already planned. Just as a gardener carefully tends the soil before new life appears, heaven patiently nurtures the hearts of believers so that they are ready for the future that God has prepared. During these seasons of preparation, the teachings of Jesus begin shaping the heart with deeper compassion and understanding. The believer learns to forgive more easily, to love more generously, and to offer kindness even during moments when it would be easier to become discouraged. This transformation becomes a quiet miracle that slowly spreads through the life of a chosen one, touching others who encounter their gentle spirit and steady faith. Type 666 if you trust Jesus. As faith grows deeper, the chosen ones begin to notice that their perspective on life gradually changes. Situations that once caused anxiety begin to feel less overwhelming because trust in God's guidance becomes stronger than fear. The believer begins to see challenges not as signs of defeat, but as opportunities for faith to grow stronger and more resilient. Through this renewed perspective, even difficult moments become stepping stones that lead toward spiritual growth and deeper understanding. Jesus continues to walk closely beside those who place their trust in Him, offering strength during moments when human courage feels fragile. His presence brings a calm assurance that the future is still held securely within the loving plans of God. This assurance does not remove every difficulty from life, yet it fills the heart with confidence that every step forward still carries purpose. The love of God quietly transforms the chosen ones into sources of encouragement for people around them. Without realizing it, their patience begins to inspire hope in others who feel discouraged. Their kindness begins to remind hurting hearts that goodness still exists in the world. Even simple words of compassion spoken by someone who carries God's love can become powerful seeds that grow into healing within another person's life. Chosen ones gradually discover that their lives are not meant only for their own growth, but also for bringing light into places where others feel lost or weary. God often uses their experiences to help them understand the struggles of people who are searching for comfort and direction. Through this understanding, the chosen ones become quiet messengers of hope, sharing the peace they have found through faith in Jesus. As the journey continues, the believer begins to trust God's timing more deeply, realizing that every season has a purpose within the greater story of their life. Moments of joy become opportunities for gratitude, while moments of difficulty become lessons that strengthen faith. Through it all, the presence of God remains constant, guiding each step with wisdom and love that never fades. God often speaks to the heart through peace that settles quietly into the spirit, bringing calm to places that once felt restless or uncertain. This peace carries a gentle reminder that the believer's life is still moving within the loving plans of heaven. Even when the world appears confusing or overwhelming, the presence of God continues surrounding the chosen ones with comfort that cannot easily be explained by human understanding. That comfort becomes like a steady flame inside the soul, giving light even during moments when everything else seems uncertain. What if abundance had always been influenced by a hidden brain signal, buried in classified records and never fully disclosed to the public? This frequency is now creating new pathways, attracting opportunities, and reshaping lives faster than expected. Thousands are already using it to draw wealth like never before. Click the link in the description and comments now and activate the money-attracting brainwave today. Many believers once searched endlessly for signs that their lives carried purpose, yet the answer was quietly growing within them the entire time. The love of Jesus begins transforming the heart from the inside, teaching patience during trials and kindness during moments when bitterness might feel easier. This transformation becomes a living testimony that God's grace is stronger than the pain that once tried to shape the story of their lives. Through every act of compassion, every moment of forgiveness, and every quiet prayer offered in faith, the chosen ones begin reflecting the gentle character of Christ. Type 666 if you trust Jesus. The journey of faith often teaches the believer that God's greatest work happens inside the heart before it becomes visible in the world around them. When a person learns to remain loving during hardship or hopeful during seasons of delay, something beautiful begins to grow within their spirit. These inner changes become the true miracles that shape a life guided by God's presence. The chosen ones slowly discover that their strength does not come from avoiding difficulties, but from trusting God while walking through them with courage and patience. There are times when chosen ones remember the past and feel amazed by how far God has carried them through moments that once seemed impossible to overcome. The memories of those difficult days begin to shine with new meaning because they reveal how faithful God has always been. What once felt like broken pieces of life slowly come together into a story filled with growth, healing, and renewed hope. Each chapter becomes a reminder that God never wastes a single moment in the lives of those who trust Him. Sometimes the chosen ones quietly wonder why their journey required so many lessons learned through waiting and perseverance.